Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years, and I ended up serving 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories and some good insight on prison, and I'm going to share some with y'all today. In the event you happen to like this, then definitely be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, be sure to leave a comment, and also hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Like I tell y'all, man, I definitely get busy on the mic. Be sure to check out my YouTube playlist up under Gas Station, and you'll find all my music and songs there. So what I'm gonna hop into today is, I know like a lot of cats, they enjoy the stories, they enjoy the fighting and all that old type of stuff, the funny stories and stuff, but prison also is extremely real, man. And I want to just have cats to be sure to keep in mind that while in the event you happen to go to prison, anything can happen in prison, on the inside of prison and especially outside of prison. And it's horrible to be in prison and lose a loved one. And keep in mind, you don't have to be in prison for no 15, 20 years to lose a loved one. Anything can happen, and you could be in prison on 2 years, 6 months, and someone pass away in the family. And depending on what state you in, I know that the protocols of attending the funeral and stuff is extremely different. But imagine being in prison, losing a loved one, and you can't attend the funeral. Imagine being in prison, losing a loved one, and you really can't grieve in prison, because let's keep it real, a lot of us men, we want to keep a macho appearance. We don't want to let our guards down in front of others. We definitely don't want to see others to see us in vulnerable moments and stuff like that. So, it's always best to try to stay out of prison, man. So I'm going to share some experiences that I had when I was in prison of people, who lost loved ones and stuff like that. Now, the first one I'm going to get to is actually a homeboy of mine. I believe he passed away like in 1990, early 91, somewhere around there. But me and his younger brother, we were in Montana. His younger brother, of course, was my homie. I took him out there to Montana with me. We was hustling. Now, there was another brother. It was three of them. One of the brothers was in the pen, and one of them was out there in Bannon. Now, the one who was in the pen, he was in a penitentiary, and like I said, this was about 1990. He was in a penitentiary maybe about two and a half hours from Bannon. He was in Ironwood. And this is how he found out about his brother passing. Because like I say, keep in mind, everybody that go to prison, everybody's not always, doesn't always have communication with their family. Some people's family just, to keep it real, can't afford to have a person call and collect all the time or whatever, so, and that was the situation in this individual's case. He didn't call home a whole lot, if at all, and so the way he found out about his brother, he was outside on the yard one day, and he was chilling with some individual who happened to know that he was from Bannon, and he had a newspaper. So he was sitting there reading the newspaper, and he said, "Hey, man, look, it's an article in here about a dude getting stabbed, man. Ain't you from Bannon?" He said, "Yeah." So dude started reading the article out. And when it got to his brother's name, he said, "Hey, man, that's my brother." And that's the way he found out that his brother was killed, man. And so, that was a horrible way to find out. Fortunately, for him, in this instance right there, this was, like I say, 1990, somewhere around there. The protocol of attending the funerals was much different than it is now in California. So back then, fortunately for him, he was able to come to the funeral. And later on also, I believe my grandmother passed away. My uncle, which was his mother, he was also incarcerated. Now, I believe at that time, we had to, the family had to pay for him being transported to the funeral, and they also had to pay for the overtime of the officers who had to watch him and come down to the funeral. Like I say now, initially back in 1990, when my homeboy passed away, I don't believe it was like that. But now it's like that. And so that's another $4,000 or $5,000. Because like I say now, let's say if you're in a prison 5 or 6 hours away, so you have to pay for the transportation, and then you have to pay for the officers' salaries. And I believe you also have to get a couple officers who's willing to bring you down there and work the overtime and stuff. So like I say, nowadays, most individuals who are in prison and a loved one pass away, they're not able to attend the family. I mean the funeral. When I was in Ironwood, there was another story that I heard about an individual who was in Ironwood prison. I believe his wife and maybe some other individual, but it definitely was his wife. Was on the way to visit him, and she got into a car crash, and she died. So imagine the pain and the guilt that individual dealt with. I'm sure he's felt that if he was never in prison, this wouldn't have happened, like I say. And so it's things like this that happens, y'all, while we in prison that we don't necessarily think about or consider. When we're out, we're free. We're running around, we're doing whatever we're doing and stuff. But when something like that happens, man, it's extremely horrible. Now check this out right here. I had another homie. I was in prison with him. His mother passed away. His family didn't even contact him or anything. Normally the procedure is when someone passes away, somebody from your family will call up there. They'll let the prison know. Eventually, you'll get a call to the program office. You'll go to the program office. It may or it may not be a chaplain in there. They'll give you the news. Let you call home. Now let me backtrack a little bit too. Now when your family from the street calls up there and tells them that somebody in your family passed away, the prison is gonna verify it first, like as if you're lying. So they go through that procedure for whatever reason. I don't know if they think people is trying to get free phone calls or something like that. So after they call the funeral home or the mortuary and verify that this individual has passed, then they'll call you in and give you maybe a 5 or 10 minute call on the office phone one time. They let you call one time, and then that's it. And then if you go back to the yard and you're unable to make calls to your family or whatever, then that's on you. So like I was saying, my friend, his mother passed away, and he didn't have no idea about it. I believe it was maybe 2 weeks later, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. They came to visit him after they'd had the funeral and everything, and told him they're in the visiting room, man. And he came back and talked to me maybe a day or two later and let me know, me and a couple of few other homies, but that, to me, that was hard, man. Well, why couldn't they, even though it may have been nothing that he could have done, but why couldn't they let him know much longer? By the time they informed him, they had already had her funeral and everything, and so I had a cellie also one time. His father passed away, and they called him into the office and this and that, and he was unable to after he come up out of the office, he wasn't in contact with his family, so he was unable to call. So I told him, hey man, go ahead, go get on the phone, man, and call my mom on a 3-way, and she'll or call her, then she'll make 3-way calls for you in order so you can talk to your family and find out exactly what's happening, what's going on. Because like I say, when they call you into that program office, you only get maybe a 5-10 minute phone call. You call your family, they're upset, they're crying. It's hard for you to find out a whole lot of information, not to mention the guards is right there. The lieutenant, they might be right there in your business. That's a private moment. You know what I'm saying? And so you may not necessarily want the guards right there in your face. It's extremely hard, man. It's extremely hard. I had another homie. His mom passed away, and they called him over there. And they asked him if he wanted to make the phone call and this and that. He told them, no, I'm good. I don't want to call. And so he came back, and his solution was just to find a cell phone and hop on that, and call and talk so he could do it in private, and then a day or two later, we was outside talking, he had a few tears coming down his eyes. He told me, hey man, I feel real sad. I mean, I feel sad, but I feel weak. for being in here and crying and this and that. I told him, come on, man, we ain't tripping on that. That's your mom's, homie. That's your mom's has passed away. And so people don't understand, man, a lot of the guilt and stuff that a lot of us individuals will have and will hold, because at that moment, a lot of us tend to put things into perspective and realize that we're not even there to support our family. We're not there to support our loved ones. We're not going to be able to see the final homecoming. We're not going to be able to attend a funeral, say proper goodbyes, none of that stuff, due to the horrible decisions that we made in our life, due to the fact that we have got ourselves incarcerated, and now we have to deal with this madness and try to say goodbye in that fashion. And so, I'm going to share with y'all a moment that I had also back in 2003. My father passed away. Now, at the time, I'm in Ironwood on Sea Yard. I'm outside. I'm working out, So they announced over the loudspeaker for me to report to the program office. Now, in California prisons, the only time they call you to report to the program office is basically when you done got a 115, which is a write-up, a disciplinary action, or someone that's passed away, something like that. And so I knew I hadn't been in any trouble lately in order for me to be getting called to the office for a 115. So I automatically assumed it had to be some bad news. So I end up going into the office. Once I walk into the office, they direct me to the lieutenant's office, I believe it was. And then so I go in there, and sure enough, a chaplain is sitting up in there. So I sit down, they try to go into this comforting spiel. I tell them, hey, listen, man, I don't want to hear none of that. Just let me know, man, what happened? What happened? Let me know what happened. And so they told me that my father had passed away, and asked me, did I want them to call my mom or whatever? Because she's the one who had called up there and informed him of the passing of my father. So I told him yes. So they called. She answered the phone crying, very sad, in a voice that I didn't even recognize. And while I'm trying to talk to her, the lieutenant is over there playing games on his computer, and it's steady making noises. So I got extremely mad. My first inclination was really to hop over the table and punch him in his face for being disrespectful. But that just goes to show they don't care. He's over there playing games on the computer, making all this type of noise and stuff. I'm trying to talk to my mom, and that's just the makeup of it right there. They don't care. So I told my mom, hey, listen, you know what? I'll call back. I'll call you later. And I hung the phone up. I left. I went outside and continued working out, because at that point, what could I really do about it? There was nothing I really could do about it. I'm the type of individual, I don't like to just continually think of things and have it run into my mind. You have some individuals, and I don't knock them for this. I had one friend, his mom passed away. He made sure he told everybody he passed. Hey, my mom passed away. My mom passed away, And so now, when you do things like that, in my opinion, now you got people, coming back to you. Hey, man, sorry to hear about that. Sorry to hear about that. And it's just constantly reminding you of the situation that you can't deal with. So in my situation, I didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't tell nobody. I had a homie who happened to hear them call me to the program office. So then he came and asked, and I told him, hey, man, listen, don't be telling everybody, because I just don't want people coming up to me saying sorry to hear that and this and that. So eventually I went back into the building. When I went into the building, just so happened a CO who had grew up in Bannon was working in there. So I asked him, hey, man, can I get on the phone? And he let me on the phone, because in California, how the phone system works is, in order to have a phone call Tuesday, you have to sign up Monday, and so if you don't sign up for a phone, it's kind of hard to get on the phone. It all depends on, there may be an officer who's working in the tower, and he'll let you hop on the phone, or there may be an officer who's working in the tower and he's a jerk. He's not supposed to let you get on the phone. So, you got to just deal with it. Like I say, that day I was able to get on the phone. I hopped on the phone and I called my mom and spoke to her and got a little bit more information. But, those are the things that sometimes happen, man, when we're in prison. I heard of an individual who, his mom passed away. And several months later, he couldn't deal with it. He had life. He ended up committing suicide. He no longer wanted to be in prison with his mother passing away, you know. So those are some of the things I think that we fail to talk about, we fail to mention. A lot of us fail to realize, you know, that when you're in prison, anything can happen. You know, we fail to, even outside of a family member passing away, we fail to realize the emotional grief and stress we put on the people who love us, you know, the people who stand by our side and stay in our corner, you know, while we're in prison doing time. You know, we fail to think about that. We want visits, you know, we want commissary and canteen and stuff. And I've seen some individuals get a tremendous attitude with their family and this and that for not, you know, putting money on their books and doing the things that they felt should have been done. But, you know, a lot of people don't take into account, well, you know, due to our actions and bad decisions, we're the ones who placed us in jail, you know. So it's not necessarily the obligation of our family, loved ones, friends, and homies, or whoever to look out for us, you know. And so those are some of the things that we don't think about while we out there running the street. You know, we don't think about that. You know, maybe our mothers, wives, girlfriends, whoever may have to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning and drive 3-4 hours, you know, to come visit us. Come rent a hotel room, you know. And so it's just a lot of things that I'm trying to let individuals know, you man, who out there running the streets and you call up, you're doing this, you're doing that when you get to prison, you are no longer in control. You know, everything is controlled by somebody else. Everything is out of your all the circumstances are basically out of your hands. You can't do nothing. And so, you know, you have a lot of individuals who say, man, I'm protecting my family and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I understand that, you know, I understand that. But in the event you do go to prison, how are you going to protect your family? You know, now you're unable to protect your family because you are incarcerated. So the best way to protect your family, to be there for your family, to care for your family, to provide for your family is just to stay free. That's just the bottom line, you know. And like I said, I wanted to address this because this is a topic that I haven't heard addressed by anybody that's doing the prison channels. And this is something that's definitely takes place very, very often. You know, like I say, you don't have to be in jail for no long time. You know, unfortunately, you could be in jail for 5 months, a year, you know, and lose a family member. And losing a family member, like I say, and not being able to attend a funeral and grieve, and you have to grieve in prison, is definitely something that no one really wants to experience, you know. And so, man, y'all just keep that in mind, man. While, you know, you're out there doing whatever you're doing and stuff, that sometimes when you go to prison, things happen that are out of your control. You know, in a situation like this, where you happen to lose a loved one, more than likely, you're not going to be able to attend the funeral. And I failed to mention this. If you're in California prison and you have life, you're not just to attend the funeral anyway. You can have all the money in the world to pay for the transportation, to pay for the overtime. If you have life, you can't attend the funeral. They're not taking a chance of bringing you outside them gates to attend no funeral. So that's out. You know, that's out. Don't even worry about it. If you got life, don't even worry about it. You know, so. And like I say, I've seen many individuals lose loved ones, lose family members, lose, you know, even close friends. Like I was telling you guys, on the initial case that I was charged with, I got into a shooting at a party. Initially, me and another individual was charged with that. He was captured and charges was dismissed against him. Then I was captured maybe 3 or 4 months later. But later on, ironically, he was also shot and killed at a house party, even though he wasn't the intended victim. He was shot and killed at a house party. And so, you know, just hearing he passed away, you know, stuff like that is just, it's painful because, you know, you're in prison. This was one of my best friends. You know, I'd known this dude literally since I was probably about 5-6 years old. You know, at that point in time, I'm still in the gang mentality, you know, so I can't attend the funeral. I can't get no get back for him. None of that stuff, you know. So being in prison, man, is an extreme waste of time in more ways than one. So I'm just trying to put a little something on you guys' mind out there. If you're out there in the street, you're running around, man, you better think once. You better think twice. You better think 3 times about what you're doing, because like I say, when you get to prison, it's 1,000,001 circumstances that's out of your control, and it's nothing you can do. I done seen individuals lose loved ones, mothers are sick, fathers are sick, whatever, and so now they stressed out. So the smallest thing sets them off, and now they're in a fight, possible stabbing, because a lot of times situations in prison, they happen due to buildup, due to stress. Dudes can't have a proper release. So things build up, and then something that wouldn't even bother you maybe 2 weeks ago, it happens today, and you just blow up over it because you're angry. You can't get on the phone. It's stressful. Or you may sign up for a phone call at 3 o'clock. At 2:45, a fight breaks out outside. So they put the yard down. All the guards run out there, or the guards who are, supposed to respond to things that happen on the yard. So now, during this time, you can't get on the phone. Everybody got to get down. If you in your cell, they not cracking no doors. They not doing none of that until the situation is taken care of. And they either say resume normal program, which means now we can go back to programming how we was initially, or they going to say lock it up. Everybody get in your cell, lock it up. So those are extremely frustrating times too. You've been sitting around waiting all day long to hop on your phone, and you may not even be having to call to respond to a family emergency. You may have just got into it with your girlfriend and may want to call her back. You know what I'm saying? You've been waiting since the last time y'all talked, and you hung up on her, she hung up on you, or the phone, or the 15 minutes, because we get a 15-minute phone call, or the 15-minute phone call elapsed. You didn't say what you wanted to say. You know what I'm saying? So now you want to hop back on the phone and say what you got to say. So now you've been waiting 24 hours, and 10 minutes before it's time for your phone call, something happens and you don't get your phone call. Situations like that and many other situations cause extreme frustration up in prison, man. So things like that, I just want to place on your mind, because like I say, I see people doing a lot of different, topics on prison, because I know that a lot of people, like I say, they like the violence, they like the fights and this and that, but it's a lot of things outside of that definitely stress us out and cause problems in prison and can lead to us getting more time. So you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.